Welcome, welcome everyone. I am so excited for day one of the What If You Burned It to the Ground challenge. And this is a brand new challenge. I haven't actually done this one before, and the content, I'm really excited about it because I am really dialing in on what my ideal clients really want. So if you are a coach or you are a consultant who is really ready to take things to the next level with your coaching and consulting company, then you definitely want to be here today. And then you also want to make sure that you officially register so that you can get into the Zoom room, which is a private room only for registrants starting tomorrow. So today we're going to be talking about scaling up your impact and income. Tomorrow we will talk about owning your genius. On Wednesday, we'll talk about unleashing yourself. On Thursday, we will talk about the arsonist blueprint, which you do not want to miss. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about avoiding failure to launch, which is something that is so easy to have happen if you don't execute the steps well, you get scared, and then you go running back to what you were doing before. And I do not want that for any of you. So make sure that you officially register. It is in the copy that is with all the posts. So if you're on Facebook, you can find it on there. If you're on LinkedIn, you can find it on there. If you're on YouTube, you can find it on there as well. If you are interested to have some extra time with me with the materials that we are covering, then make sure that you upgrade to VIP. You'll get an extra hour with me after the challenge to talk about whatever you need to talk about and to make sure that you are really customizing your approach to the material that is appropriate to your company. Once you actually register, whether you're VIP or regular, then you can download your workbook. And if you want to win prizes, which there's an over $2,000 prize available, so you want to make sure that you post your homework, then you post it daily on the group and you can be eligible for one of the prizes. And then I really do suggest, and I know some people are like, oh, I don't want to journal, but journal every day on this journey. You are doing something that is going to actually transform you over this week. And I know that may sound like an exaggeration, but if you've done one of my challenges before, you know that it's not. So I want you to actually journal on what is happening, because what I do with these challenges is I dig up a whole bunch of stuff that you maybe didn't want to have dug up. And then we sort through it and figure out what to do with it. So there is going to be emotional stuff that comes up. There are going to be revelations. You are going to be looking at your company completely differently. You're going to look at yourself completely differently. So it is going to be an amazing week. But the journaling will help you to sort through what is going on in your mind, so you're not circling around it or getting doubtful that you can actually do this. I promise you, if you are a coach or a consultant, you can actually do what I'm going to teach this week. So our topic today is scale up your impact and your income. Scaling up your impact is important, and I believe that your income should follow that. The more lives you change, the more income you should have. The better you get at coaching and consulting, the more income you should have. So the impact, the effectiveness, the efficiency that you deliver your information should 100% be reflected in your income. And I'm going to talk about dollars. If money makes you uncomfortable, get used to it, because part of this is helping you to actually level up your income. It's also leveling up how you work with clients. It's leveling up your impact and also looking at scaling down your working hours. So buckle in. We're going to get right into this, and we're going to have a great session right now. And if you decide to register, we'll have a great session this week. My goal really is for you to be able to do the work that you love. So many people hate their job, like hate it with a passion. And to me, that's ridiculous. You have so much choice in how you design your life. You have so much choice in how you design your work. So why wouldn't you design your work to do the work you love? I also want you to be able to work with clients you love. There's no point in people being on your schedule who, when you see their name, you go, oh, do I really have to deal with Angela today? That is a horrible existence. And again, that is a choice. I also want you to earn more, significantly more. I want you to work less, significantly less. And I'm going to show you the math today on how to actually do this. And I also want you to unleash massive influence in the world. If the word impact works better for you, massive impact. But what I really want is for you to be able to change as many lives as you possibly can in the shortest amount of time possible, with you giving the smallest pound of flesh. Okay, a pound is a pound. But what I want you to do is really be doing this efficiently so that you are happy, because you're going to be a way better coach if you're happy doing what you're doing. You are going to be a way better entrepreneur if you love what you're doing. You are going to serve your clients at a higher level if you actually like them. And if you love them, even better. And that will allow you to have more impact, more influence in this world. And a lot of people come to me because they also want to be able to do this from anywhere in the world. And I'm not talking about having this as like a little side hobby that just covers your expenses. I'm talking about building a robust, financially stable, financially impactful coaching or consulting company that you can deliver 100% online if you like. Presently, I'm sitting in Greece, in Rhodes, Greece. So I'm sitting in a hotel room on a beautiful island. And so my days are at the beach in the beautiful teal water, going and enjoying the beautiful Greek food. And then I come and work at night. So right now for me, it is 9 p.m. And I love that I am able to live this kind of life. I'm actually trekking around the world right now. And it doesn't mean that you have to be trekking around the world to be able to set this kind of thing up. Even just having the geographic freedom to be like, oh, okay, I'm taking off for the week to the cottage. Can I still work from there? Yes, you can. What I see time and time again is that highly committed coaches and consultants hit the glass ceiling of impact and income that they can make because they define success in a way that I want you to change. They define success as giving everything that you've got. That makes a really good coach. You're giving them all your time, you're giving them all your energy, you're making sacrifices in your life to serve your clients. Success also looks like being highly available. I remember when I was doing one-on-one coaching, I would take calls at 11:30 at night when I was living in the North American time zone and interrupt date nights, interrupt friend time, because I felt like I had to be highly available to be a really good coach. Success can be defined as adjusting to your client's flow. So you may have agreed to a program, you may have agreed to a process and an outcome, and they come in with whatever is going on that day, and they knock you off your course and you adjust to their flow. Even though you feel dissatisfied when you leave the session. And success is also often defined as more clients and more hours equals more success. I think having the right clients and working fewer hours will give you more success because you are going to be operating at that really high level. You're not going to be so fatigued. You're not going to be resenting the monster that you've built. I've been there, done that, got the shirt a couple of times, and I don't want that for anyone. I want you to build a business that you love. So, can we look at defining success a little bit differently? Can we look at a successful business being defined as this? It being simple, it being effective, and it being predictable. So when I say simple, I mean not having a whole bunch of coaches underneath you or consultants underneath you. I mean not having levels of management. I mean not having a whole bunch of team members. I mean something that is easy for you to control and scale with some tech behind you and maybe a part-time virtual assistant. When I say effective, I mean I want you to be able to take people from point A to point Z in a manner that you know works. It's efficient and it gets them outcomes. I also want you to create a business that is predictable in your income and as well the outcomes for your clients. I want you to be able to make a guarantee like I do, that I will help you to make your first $125,000 with my 90-day program. And then from there, you rinse and repeat until you keep scaling, and you can scale it to 7 figures easily. And I'm going to show you the math of an actual case study with one of my clients. So you can see that this isn't BS. This isn't pie in the sky. This is easy to achieve with the right information. So as we go through today, you're going to see simple, effective, and predictable. So you're eventually going to be able to regurgitate this for me, which is what I want. I want you to look at your coaching and consulting business differently, because I don't want you getting burnt out. I want you to create massive impact, but that doesn't mean that you give up your life to coach clients. And yet, so many do. And we could be so much more effective if we weren't giving up our life, if we could have a balance of our personal life with our professional life while creating that impact. So I got the name of being the arsonist because I burned down my life 3 years ago. I sold everything that I owned, bought a one-way flight to Nicaragua, and decided I was starting a new life. I had already burned down one of my companies. I'd sold off my professional dance company, and I was just left with 2. And so I had reduced my working hours. I wasn't going to have to work 100-hour weeks. Life was going to be good. And it was funny. About 3 months after arriving in Nicaragua, what happened was I started waking up in the middle of the night in a complete panic, soaked with sweat, with my heart racing, worried that something had fallen through the cracks. And mostly it had to do with my agency. I had 14 full-time team members. I had redundancy of positions. I had multiple levels of management built in to try and control this monster that I had created. A monster of my own design. And what happened was I realized that I was headed for another health crisis. And I didn't want that. What I also realized was I was really good at drowning myself in my own ambition. It's a talent. To be able to just pile things on until you can't breathe. It's something I'm really good at. But I've worked on it. But I realized my ambition as an entrepreneur, I was a serial entrepreneur. I built multiple companies and sold them. I'm really good at taking an idea and bringing it to reality and making it highly profitable. But it was going to kill me. I realized that I was really good at burning things down, hence the arsonist, but I was also really good at building more stuff in its place. So yes, as I moved to Nicaragua, I had already sold off one of my 3 companies, and that was supposed to have freed up time so I could enjoy this beautiful life that I was designing. And instead, I just added more complication into my businesses till I was back up to working 100-hour weeks. Bad Angela. But it was just what I knew. It was the program of what I thought success was. I thought I had to give the pound of flesh. I thought I had to keep pushing and pushing. More hours, more clients equals more success. But it wasn't working for me anymore. And I realized if I stayed on that track, I was going to end up having another tumor. I was going to potentially have a stroke again. So there was really some massive consequences to me not getting my act together. And I needed to reevaluate what success looked like for me. Was it really giving everything I've got? All my time, all my energy? That was part of the reason I had left Calgary. Because Calgary was a city that was go, go, go. Everyone was trying to climb the corporate ladder. Everyone was doing whatever it took. They were a martyr to their business. But I hadn't left Calgary and come to the tropics to keep that mindset. I was trying to get away from that. And yet, here I was again. I needed to ask myself if success meant being highly available. I was back to taking these ridiculous phone calls from my social media clients at all hours of the day, interrupting family time, interrupting friendship time, interrupting on the way to the beach time, all this time that was supposed to be meant for me. I had to reevaluate if success really meant adjusting to my client's flow. I had a process in my coaching within my social media agency that would get them an outcome. Yet when I would get on a call, I was having to life coach. I was having people tell me what was going on, and we would get off track. And I often left the sessions feeling really dissatisfied. I also had to ask myself if success was really more clients and more hours. It could be, but it was going to kill me. And this started to feel like prison. It was a prison of my own making. Doing that used to make me feel like a badass, and now I felt like a failure. My companies were doing fine. I wasn't doing fine. So I needed to take a step back and look at what I actually wanted. What was this dream life that I had sold everything off, sold one of my companies, picked up, moved countries, crossing across multiple countries to get to that country? Why was I here? What did I actually want from this life? I didn't want to have done all that to be living exactly the way I was when I was in Calgary. I wanted a new life. I wanted to enjoy life. I wanted to be on the beach with these beautiful palm trees and go surfing and not be worried about my business all the time. And yet I was. What I really realized was I still had two monsters that I had created, and it was time to burn it to the ground. They weren't working for me. My business coaching for dentists, which just made me feel sad all the time because I missed dentistry so much. So that was hard. And then I had the social media agency that had so many moving pieces, so many people in it, that I was worried about the wheels falling off. So it was time to burn it to the ground and do it with intention, not just be like, yay, selling everything off I own, selling one company, moving countries, ta-da, we're going to be perfect. That clearly hadn't worked. So I needed to get highly intentional about how I was going to burn it this time. What I really wanted was a simple, effective, and predictable company. I was over the rush of being an entrepreneur, the adrenaline addiction that I clearly had for a very long time. I wanted to grow up and build something that was simple, effective, and predictable so I could get my health under control, so I could create a business that I actually loved and not after a couple of years feel like I'd created another monster. I needed to contain myself and get really focused on how I was going to do this. I really wanted to just burn it all down to having one company with one offer that was going to net $1 million per year. Pretty simple. So I couldn't do what I'd previously been doing. I couldn't build in all that complication. I couldn't define success the way that I used to define success. I needed to reevaluate what life looked like. So I sat down and started thinking about what people would pay me for. And some of you have heard the story before, but I love my sticky notes. So I had pink sticky notes and I had yellow sticky notes, which I don't have with me as I'm traveling the world. But the pink ones came. And what I did was I wrote down a single skill on a sticky note and stuck it on a whiteboard. Then I wrote the next skill, stuck it on the whiteboard. So by the time I was done, I had a lot of skills on this board and looked at it and went, oh my gosh, this is not helpful. So I left, went for a run, came back, looked at it and was still annoyed by it. So I went to sleep. The next morning I woke up and my whiteboard is in my room. So I wake up, this whiteboard of bright neon yellow and neon pink sticky notes is staring at me. And I'm looking at it going, there has to be a reason I was inspired to do this. So I started to try and create order out of the chaos because it was chaos. And I took the skills that I hated and didn't like and put them in the lower right corner. And then I took the skills that I loved and put them in the upper left corner. And then I took the skills that I loved and ordered them from the things that I love the most to love the least. And my stipulation for that was, if I could only use this skill for the next 5 years, would I love it or not? Or would I get bored? So that clearly came out in the wash, what my top 3 skills were. And they were this. I'm so good at transforming clients' credibility. I am so good at attracting ideal clients for my clients. And I am so good at crafting limelight for them. This allows me to take highly accomplished professionals and help them to change the world through their coaching and consulting. These are my top 3 skills, and that is my niche. Simple, effective, and predictable. So I built my coaching programs just like I'd build my social media agency around those top 3 skills. So I want you to think about what people will pay you for. And honestly, don't even worry about what people will pay you for. What are the things that you love to do the most? And if you could only do 3 things for the next 5 years, whether you think you can make money at them or not, that's what I want you to have come out in the wash. So get some sticky notes. If you don't have sticky notes, at least cut up some papers, because if you are stuck trying to write it on a piece of paper, it's really hard to move things around. You kind of get stuck in the structure that you originally create. So I want you to be able to move these around. Oops, I just threw them on the floor. And be able to have that flexibility to see what comes out. And I promise you, you can get paid for anything. So again, don't get stuck on the idea that what will people pay you for. What do you actually want to do? For the next 5 years, if you had 3 things that you could only do for the next 5 years, the only things you could say yes to, what would those be? And those are going to be your top 3 skills. And those top 3 skills, you're going to learn to package so that become your niche of genius. And over this week, you're going to hear me talking about going narrow and deep into your niche of genius. When you actually do that, you're never going to get bored. Those 3 things are going to feel like you are digging and digging and digging forever and never getting to the bottom of knowing everything about them. But I want you to at least love the topics that you're going to be digging into, because that's what's going to make you an amazing coach or consultant, especially if we can build a program that gets results, it creates predictable outcomes, it allows you to create a guarantee like mine. Guarantee will help you make 125K. And that is what you're going to do your first version of your boutique group program. So you're going to figure out what your top 3 skills are, and you're going to come tomorrow with an idea of what your niche of genius is. I also want you to dig into what are the predictable outcomes that you can create. So what do you know that if you give someone step A, B, C, D through Z, that they're actually going to get a predictable outcome? My predictable outcome has to do with wealth, right? $125,000, and then rinse and repeat to scale that up. Yours might have to do with health, or it might have to do with relationships. There's pretty much 3 big categories with coaching and consulting. So what is the predictable outcome, or even just create a list of predictable outcomes that you know that you can create with the skills that you have. If you're already a one-on-one coach, you know what works and what doesn't work, what outcomes you can sometimes create and what outcomes you can always create. So I want you to dig into those ones that you can always create if the clients follow all the steps. If they start throwing wrenches into the gears and it goes and stops, well, that's not your problem. So you want to know, like, if I actually get them to do these things, this will get them an outcome in health, wealth, or relationship. And I want you to write out what you think the guarantee is that you could create around the outcome. And I know that might make your skin crawl. A lot of people think I'm insane for my $125,000 guarantee, but I know If you do the things and you are at the caliber of the kind of people I work with, it's easy for you to make that first 125K. Oftentimes my clients make it from 90 days outside of the accelerator. So the accelerator is typically 90 days. So by 6 months from the start of the accelerator, they typically have recouped that 125K, even if they've dawdled, which I'm going to show you a case study on that, just to make you see what reality is, because not everyone does things perfectly. People get caught up in their mindset, they get caught up in their programs. So again, your best case scenario, even with mindset issues, programming issues, tech issues, whatever they are, what is that predictable outcome? Okay. And then I want you to also figure out what your resulting income can be. And I'm going to show you some math, and I will give you a calculator that you can play with to help figure out what that resulting income is. Because I want you to scale up your income, scale up your impact, and be able to scale down your working hours. And if you can create a program, a boutique group program, where you have a curriculum that you take people through, and the interesting thing with the psychology of a group program is people don't bring their stuff to the program because everyone's best interest has to be served. So if they're having a crappy day, that doesn't derail the whole group. It might have to be acknowledged, but you get back to the curriculum really fast so that you can create that predictable outcome. In a group, people are showing up not wanting to be the one who didn't do their homework, because there's an accountability. And I'm not talking about, groups where you're like, okay, you can't afford my one-on-one, throw you over there. I'm talking about making a boutique group program that is your highest level offer, not your default. If you can't pay for me, then you go over here. No, if you can pay for me, you want to be in my group and you're going to pay more. And this is how we're going to scale your income. Is also how you're going to scale your impact, because when you come at it with a higher price point for yourself, you're going to be like, oh man, I have to deliver, right? I have to step up. I have to give more. I have to, and I'm not saying give more in hours. I mean, give more of what you know at your highest capacity. If you want to become an amazing coach or consultant fast, build a high ticket group program. And you'll see you will step up, because you're going to be so afraid of tarnishing your reputation that you're going to do everything to get there. Not paralyzing, not paralyzed afraid, but enough fear to actually get you up there, okay? So let's take a look at an average group program. So I'm going to use the number 6 because 6 comes up all the time when people are talking about their group program. So say you have 6 clients and you work with them 4 hours per month, so 1 hour-ish per week, and you're charging them $500 per hour. And I recommend, if you're any good at your job, you're not charging anything less than $500 per hour. That means at 6 clients, 4 hours per month, at $500 per hour, you are making $12,000 per month in total. Between those 6 clients, you're making $12,000 per month, which equals you're making $500 per hour, working 24 hours per month. That's not bad, right? You're working 24 hours. Those are going to be grueling hours where you have to show up at top-notch level, but you're making $500 an hour for your effort. Good job. So now let's take a look. If we took that one-on-one group program and we pivoted it to being a boutique group project, a boutique group program, we're going to keep all the parameters the same. So you're going to take 6 clients and you're going to put them into a group. Those 6 clients, you're seeing them 4 hours per month, but you're seeing them all together in those 4 hours per month. And you're still charging them $500 per hour. What does that mean? It means you're making $12K a month. Woo, same as the other way. Here's the sticking point though. You're now making $3,000, working $3,000 per hour instead of $500 per hour, working 4 hours per month. So let's look at those side by side. So your original one-on-one program, you're making $500 per hour, working 24 hours per month, which is still great. If you pivoted to a boutique group program, which is what we're focusing on this week, you're going to make $3,000 per hour, working 4 hours per month. So you're making $12,000 with each of these. But in one-on-one, you're working 24 hours. So you're working 6 times as many hours, and you're making $500 per hour. In the group, you're making $3,000 per hour, 6 times as much per hour, and you're only working 4 hours per month, which is 1/6 of the amount of time. Now, if you could create predictable outcomes and build a program that is highly effective, that allows you to take what used to take a lot of time, collapse it down into a shorter period of time, and create even bigger outcomes, would you? All day long. And again, this is not pie in the sky. This is mathematical fact. So here's what happened after my bonfire. So, realizing that things weren't working for me, I decided to burn down my last 2 companies. I sold off my business coaching company for dentists. I sold off my social media agency, kept the name Unleashing Influence, but turned it into the work that I was specifically doing in the agency, which was coaching clients, coaches and consultants, to unleash massive impact in the world. So now here I was doing what I knew, which was one-on-one coaching. And it took a little while. So after the final ember went out in my burn, I was a little bit scared. I honestly was a bit scared because I was like, did I just destroy all the work that I had done? Even though I hated it, did I destroy everything that I'd built? And it took about 3 months for me to realize that it was going to be okay. And what happened was I was slowly having clients trickle in. But it was one client specifically that made me go, okay, we got some momentum. What happened was she decided to pay me in full for my coaching services, one-on-one. And the amount that hit my bank account almost 3 months to the day after selling the last company was more than I would have made working full-time as a dentist. That's my original training, if you didn't know that. So I got paid in advance by a client who knew that I could help her to impact the world. And it was more than I would have made working full-time as a dentist. You can imagine. I'd kind of been holding my breath for 3 months. And then finally I was like, okay. Whew. Once you get the ball really rolling, like a little pebble rolling, not a big deal. But when you have that monster ball rolling, you're like, okay, we're going to get some momentum and it's going to be easy. And what happened was I got momentum. Because I shifted what I was talking about on LinkedIn, because I shifted what I was showcasing as far as what I was doing for my work on LinkedIn, people started messaging me saying, I see what you're doing. When can we get started? They weren't asking me how much it was going to cost. They were saying, I want to get started. And so the ball that had slowly started rolling was going really, really fast. And I was back to heading down this track of being on that path of what success used to look like. And I knew I was going to start drowning. I knew I was going to be back to 100-hour work weeks. I knew I was going to be feeling like, if I just put in more hours and get more clients, I'm going to be more successful. If I just give the pound of flesh, if I give everything, all my energy, all my time, I sacrifice my personal relationships for my business, everything's going to be great. And I didn't want to go glug, glug, glug and drown in my own ambition. I needed to learn my lesson. And I didn't want to burn this down because I knew this was finally what I was meant to be doing since losing my dental career. I knew this was the path that was going to help me realize my full potential. And so I took a step back. And I looked at what was happening with my clients. And what I realized was I was saying the same thing multiple times in a week or multiple times over a month to different clients. Because I had what I did best: transforming credibility, attracting ideal clients, and crafting limelight for them. But again, I was saying it in isolated situations with them one-on-one. I also noticed that they were going through major transformation. If you're in one of my programs, we're not just talking about the technical things. We are digging into mindset. We're bringing in NLP. We are getting rid of old programs that don't work for you and learning how to get rid of them so that you can reach your highest potential. So they're going through this transformation, and the people around them didn't get it. Their family didn't get it. Their spouse didn't get it. Their friends didn't get it. Their coworkers and colleagues didn't get it either, because a lot of them were leaving high-level positions from Fortune 500 companies to pivot to building their own thing after they'd been in a C-suite executive position for years. Risky. So they felt alone. They felt unsupported. And they also, like the caliber of clients, my goodness, they had so much intellect, so much experience, so much expertise. And some of the things that they would say to me, I'm like, oh man, I wish she could have heard that. Oh, I wish what she said, he could have heard that. And so I realized that I was actually doing them a disservice, just working one-on-one with them. I was actually holding back the ability for them to get get more information, kind of have that mastermind feeling, and also be able to get that support. And so I took a match and I burned down my one-on-one program and came up with the Pivot Accelerator. So this is my flagship 90-day program. This is one that everyone wants. And what I did with this was I took those three parts: transforming credibility, attracting your ideal clients, and crafting your limelight, and turned it into a strict curriculum. So there's 1 month on each of those topics. There's four weeks to each of those modules, and built something that I knew if they followed it and they didn't come in and knock the curriculum off track, they could scale. They could actually get massive results. And so I had some interesting conversations and said, Kate, I know this is what you really like, but I need you to trust me, and I want you to go into the accelerator. And they did. I was just frank about it. I told them what I thought the outcomes were going to be, and if we hated it, we burned that one down and we would bring the one-on-one back. What happened was, what used to take 2 years, so a long period of time, we were able to accomplish that in 90 days and exponentially increase the outcomes. We got through so much stuff because they were coming in focused, wanting to show up for each other, wanting to make sure they weren't the one who didn't do their homework. They wanted to make sure they showed up top notch. Plus, they were bringing in their experience and expertise. They were also supporting each other. So when you're not so stressed out and worrying about, what does my wife think about me? What does my husband think about me? What do my kids think about me? What do my colleagues think about me? You can just settle in and be yourself and move forward. So we were able to take 2 years, get it done in 90 days, and increase the outcomes. The interesting thing was, that was great impact for them, but the impact for me was my hourly rate for my first accelerator was 6 times what I was making per hour in my one-on-one coaching. And now it's 17 times what my original coaching was. And these are the results I get for my clients too. So let's look at one of my graduate case studies. So this lady, amazingly talented, she came to me, and her original one-on-one program was $40,000 per year. She was working with them 1 hour per week. So that was 48 hours with them and working with 10 clients per year. So that's 480 hours in total between those 10 clients, making $400K, which is $833 per hour. That's above average for a coach. Okay. So again, 40K program, 10 clients per year, and each of those clients gets 48 hours individually. So it's 480 hours, and 400K gives you 833. Her boutique program is 40K per year. It's 48 hours, and she's doing it 4 times per year. So we're taking 6 clients per year into each of those cohorts, and she's working with those clients 48 hours together. So 6 clients at 48 hours. So the total for the year is 192 hours. The amount she can bill for that is 960K, which works out to 5K per hour. So same program, same number of hours, brought into cohorts. So 1 cohort per quarter at 6 clients instead of 10. So she reduced the amount of clients that she's working in the cohorts. So now she only has to work 192 hours. She's making more than double at 960K, which works out to 5K per hour. Now, she also has her original legacy program. So that one is 40K per year. She works 12 hours a year with each of them, so 1 hour per month, and has 10 clients who she's working one-on-one with. That works out to 144 hours, 400K, and 2,777 per hour. Pretty good. Now, we're converting that original legacy program for the same reasons that I talked about. Lack of support, shared expertise, and not repeating the same thing over and over again. So same thing, staying at 40K per year, now working 12 hours in total with those 10 clients per year. So that means she's working 12 hours, making 400K in her legacy program, and that is now 33,000 per hour, not per client, per hour that she's working with them. Simple, effective, and predictable. And that woman adds 500K easy to people's businesses. She's got the predictability down. She's got the effectiveness down. And now, instead of being run ragged, she has the simplicity down. And she's actually, it's funny, she graduated before Christmas, and she admitted that she dragged her feet for 2 months. And then finally, this past month, she was like, okay, I have to do this. I have to do this. Like, I need to listen to what Angela's saying. Otherwise, why did I go through this program and go through all this transformation? And and now she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And she's taken 2 vacations in that period of time. And she hadn't taken 2 vacations in a long time. So the ability to free her mind, the ability to free her time, the ability to scale her income and her impact is measurable. You can see the numbers. It's really easy math. Okay. So hopefully you're seeing the potential for yourself. The first example that I went through at, with 6 clients at a certain rate, that might be more reasonable for you. Or what I showed you with the case study might be more reasonable for you. But the potential is there to easily 6 times or 10 times or 20 times your income, while also leveling up the impact that you're creating with your clients. This is not pie in the sky. This is a predictable and effective and simple program. So I want you to just sit back and close your eyes. And I want you to just imagine what life could be like if you can take the grueling one-on-one programs and turn them into those simple, beautiful boutique group programs that get those outcomes predictably while having a very simple company. So close your eyes, and I want you to imagine, where would you be waking up? Where would you be living if you had that kind of simplicity to your company? If you had that kind of effectiveness, if you had that predictability of outcomes that you can make guarantees that you can fulfill, who would you be waking up with? What kind of house would you be waking up in? As you put your feet on the ground, as you get out of bed in the morning, what does the floor feel like underneath your feet? What does the room smell like? As you get up, what would your ideal day start like? What would you finally have time to do to set yourself up for success in your ideal day? Would you be meditating, going to the gym, hanging out with your spouse and your kids? Maybe you have a critter. When you go to work, where would you be working? Would you still be going to a brick and mortar? Would you be going to a co-working space? Would you be working from home? Would you be working from an exotic locale? And who would you be working with? What would your ideal clients look like? The ones that you're so excited to work with. How many hours a week are you client facing? Knowing what those possibilities could look like. I want you to dream big. Maybe you're working 2 hours a week client facing. Maybe it's 5 because you've got a few different programs. But what is that new standard and expectation you have? What are you making per hour in your dream life with those ideal clients, with this new group boutique program? How much are you making per year? Because you're able to work so effectively and efficiently, what are you doing with the rest of your time during the day? You finish work, you've made a good amount of money, you've made massive impact with your clients. So what are you doing to enjoy your actual life? And in your dream life, when you go to bed at night and you crawl into the sheets in your dream home, with or without someone beside you, with or without a critter, and you put your head on the pillow and you're about to drift off, what is the last thought that crosses your mind before you drift off into a deep slumber? Take a deep breath in. Breathe it out. I just want you to pay attention to how you feel right now. How does it feel to experience that dream life? Now you can open your eyes. And I want you to just note, what does your current life feel like compared to that dream life? Now I know a lot of people, when we do this visualization, and we will do this again in our private room for the people who register, the feelings that come up about their dream life is that they feel free, they feel at peace, they feel content, they feel like they're in the flow. And when they compare it to their current life, it's in stark contrast. Right now, they feel stressed, they feel under pressure, they feel like they're never sure where their next client is going to come from, they're never sure if they're going to get the outcomes for their clients, they feel like they have to give, and they're tired. The current life you're in, just like I was before I moved to Nicaragua, and even after I moved to Nicaragua, was the sum of my choices. The life that I live today, my ideal life, where I am now trekking around the world, working 5 hours client-facing a week, creating massive impact and outcomes for my clients. That is also the sum of my choices. So wherever you are right now, it's kind of your own fault, good or bad. It is the sum of your choices. And if you want to get to somewhere else, you got to make different choices. So you have to take radical responsibility. And hopefully, taking that radical responsibility makes you feel like her, makes you feel like you have done a really good job taking accountability for your life. making different choices than where you are right now to actually get you to somewhere different. And I promise it's all up to you. It is all up to you. And that's part of the arsonist blueprint. And as we go through the next 4 days, for those who officially register and get in the private room, what happens is we're going to really build out this blueprint for you on how to transform your credibility, on how to attract your ideal clients, and how to craft your limelight so that you can go from your one-on-one, time-intensive, impact-driven, one-on-one coaching or consulting and swap that over to a higher impact, higher income, less labor-intensive boutique group program that becomes your highest tier offer that people want, like the Pivot Accelerator. I want you to be able to do the work you love with clients you love while you earn more, work less, and unleash massive influence in this world. And if you like, from anywhere in the world. And that's what this week is about, is redesigning what you've built. Or maybe we're designing from scratch what you want so that you don't have resentment towards your business. You don't have resentment towards your clients. You don't feel like you've built a monster that you can't control. And instead, you have that simple, effective, and predictable business that it's easy to run, it's easy to scale, it's easy to have impact, and it's easy to have income. So here's your homework. Officially register. If you haven't registered, I will also make sure I throw it in the comments again. But make sure you get on there and officially register. It's unleashinginfluence.net/challenge_sign-up. Join the challenge group. Write out your dream life. Define your top 3 skills and define your predictable outcomes. And play with the income calculator I'm going to give you. Because if you can't even fathom how it's going to work, you're not going to believe that you can actually do it. And I promise you, these, again, are not pie in the sky results. These are achievable results at wherever you're starting. If you are a highly committed coach or consultant and you are able to create outcomes, maybe they're not as predictable as you like right now, you can take this process, scale up your impact, scale up your income, scale way down your working hours so that you can show up for the hours that you're client facing at your very best, giving your very best to your clients. So I will hopefully see all of you on the inside tomorrow. And if you have any questions, please message me. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing your registration come in and seeing you in our private Zoom room tomorrow. Take care. Enjoy your night. Well, it might be your day. It's my night. And I will see you on the inside.